5K SnipeAthon is a public trading journey where I'm going to grow $5,000 of my own money to $10,000 trading currency in the foreign exchange market. This is a completely public and transparent trading journey where I give daily and weekly updates of the progress. If you want to follow and stay up to date on this trading journey, make sure you hit like, subscribe, turn the notifications on, and look in the comments to join the Snipers Anonymous broadcast where I update the chat daily on the progress of the account. Shalom, family. Shalom. Welcome to the call. If you can hear me, I'm doing a sound check. Go ahead and drop your favorite emoji in the chat. Let me know that you can hear me. I am back from Atlanta. As you all know, I was traveling on the road with my family for Passover, and I was really out of my environment, which is why the theme of tonight's call is homeostasis, right? Homeostasis, and then your trading environment. How important it is to have your trading environment set up that's suitable for you, so that you can, psychologically be in the best shape to put on winning trades, right? But without further ado, let's go ahead and go over the results of last week. So these are the results of week 9. We had a starting balance of $4,980.32. We ended the week at $4,929.90. We had 1 win, 4 losses last week, a total of 5 trades. The win rate was 20%. And we have 2 open trades, or at the time that I made this update, we had 2 open trades running. And the profit of those trades that were running was $75. But the net profit loss overall of the account is negative $70.10. And the net profit loss percentage is 1.4 or 1.41%. So we're doing a little seesaw here. We're going back and forth, as y'all can see. We really in a season of consolidation, where started off, on that losing streak in the beginning. Then we worked our way back up and got just a little bit above 5,000, and now we're back down. So it's just a little consolidation, and that's all right. It's also a part of the journey. My notes for the week, like I was saying, is homeostasis. So I wanted to talk about this because when it comes to trading, it's very important that you're in a comfortable environment, an environment that you're in every day. You want the environment that you're in to be consistent, right? Because that's where you work, that's where you make your decisions, and that greatly affects your trading psychology. And so this is my office. Like what you see, where you see me talking from, this is my office. Let me actually remove this. Right, this is my office. So this is where I trade from. Last week I was in Atlanta, Georgia, and not only was I out of my environment at some friend's house, and then I ended up at an Airbnb. We also had Passover that week. And with Passover, the first day of Passover is a Sabbath. And then we had our regular Sabbath. And then the last day of Feast of Unleavened Bread is a Sabbath as well. So I had 3 Sabbaths within a week. I'm out of my environment, right? And I'm trying to place trades. I'm trying to analyze charts. I got my friends' kids are playing around me, and my daughter is. I'm out of my environment, and so I want to say that had a lot to do with my poor performance last week, and I didn't make the best decisions as far as trading, which is cool because it brought up a lesson. So you guys know, if you don't know, when it comes to trading psychology, it is very important to make sure your environment is suitable for you to trade. You always want to make sure your environment is clean, right? You want to make sure that it's comfortable, and that's going to help you with consistency, right? It's going to help with the way that you feel. It's just very important to make sure you're in your trading environment. It's very hard to be outside of where you normally are. Like, a lot of people don't find success in trading because they aren't able to be in the same place when they trade. They're in their cars, looking at charts, placing trades. And a lot of beginners also make this mistake. You trade everywhere you at. You at the store, you looking at your phone, checking on your trade, analyzing charts. You at work on your break, checking your phone, analyzing charts. And it is very important to have a place where you go to place your trades. All right. So I don't know if any of you guys are taking notes, but that's something that you want to really take into to heavy consideration is to make sure your environment is the same environment and that you trade in that environment and try not to trade analyze charts outside of that environment. Welcome to the call, Khalil. Welcome to the call, John. Let's go over the agenda. So we're going to go over the news forecast first. We always review the dollar, right? Euro GBP, and then we'll go over Euro USD. And then if you guys have anything you want me to look at, I'll analyze those charts live. And then I want to talk to you guys about something. I want to talk to y'all about something and kind of get your opinion on something that I've been following. But first things first, let's go ahead and get into the news forecast. As you all know, I always use my FX book, and I really only check the red folders. Right, we want to be efficient. I don't want to be looking through a whole bunch of information. Orange folders, get right to it. And let me give me a quick second. Okay, here we go. All right, let me bring this up for y'all. Gee. Hey, what's going on, John? Welcome. What's up, Dory? All right, share my screen. How was everybody's weekend? How was everybody's weekend? All right. So on Monday, we had employment change and PPI at 8 in the morning. So that's already passed. Today is Tuesday. So all we have left is Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. So for Wednesday, the New York State Manufacturing Index for the US dollar, that's going to be at 8:30. So, just keep an eye out. Anybody who trades the Australian dollar, they have some red folder news. It looks like that's going to be around 9:30. 12, yeah, that's going to be around 9:30. And then on Thursday, we have the pound with the goods trade balance, GDP and goods trade balance. I think that's going to provide some volatility. So that's something to look out for anybody that's trading anything that has the pound connected to it. That's going to be at 2 o'clock in the morning. And that's usually when a lot of moves take place, a lot of entries take place. So if you have anything, you got any areas that you're waiting on, Thursday, be looking for liquidity to get swept and those entries to take place. Then we have the euro at 5 a.m., a red folder news, CPI. And then we have jobless claims Thursday morning, which is going to be at 8:30 for the United States dollar. And that's it. That's it for this week. So not a lot. So let's go ahead and get into analyzing the dollar. Let's see. Right. Let me check everybody. Let me check the comments. So John said he's getting back into the swing of things. Yeah, same here. Weekend was good. Had family in town. Nice. Very restful. That's always good, especially for you, John, because you a hard working man, man. You a working son of a gun. Okay, so let's get into analyzing the dollar. See what's been going on. We're still following. We see we broke out of that area consolidation that we've been talking about, that we've been stuck in. We've broken out of this channel, and now we're actually headed for a market open gap. All right, so we're looking for this market open gap to get filled. They've come too close, in my opinion. They've come too close to this market open gap not to come down and fill it. So I believe there's some incentive, and this is acting as a magnet. And this is the direction that I see the dollar going, in between tonight and tomorrow. Excuse me. Now, if we get a pullback, that's possible, but I just believe we're too close to this market open gap, and this is the target. But let's look at the dollar overall so we know where we are. We know that this is consolidation, right? From a higher time frame perspective. So we're within consolidation. We're heading to the bottom of the consolidation, coming from the top of the higher time frame consolidation, and we've broken out of a lower time frame consolidation. All right. Let's look at a lower time frame to get some structure. See if we see any possible pullbacks. All right, we had some equal lows here that are getting ran, right? So it is very possible that the dollar could make a run back for this level before continuing down. And then if we kind of fill in the blanks, we had this market open drop here from last weekend, and then we gapped up and then fell. So this is the high. This was the last high that was created, like right here, right? We had the low, we had a lower high, and we've created a lower low. So I'm gonna go ahead and put my fib on this. Let's see what that would be if we started pulling back from where price is right now. If we came up to this level where these equal lows were, that's around 38%. And it looks like it's a lot of momentum, in my opinion, as far as the rate at which it's heading down. This is a lot of momentum. And what I tend to see in trends that have a lot of momentum is you see more, it's like shallow retracements, more shallow retracements. So shallow retracements would be 38%. And you'll see price come to the 38% and continue down. So I wouldn't be surprised if we get some bullish movement and we get a retracement back up here, or we head down to this market gap, fill the gap, and then we have a reaction. Either way, this is what I'm looking at for the dollar. All right, I'm looking for price to retrace and then possibly continue down, or we drop down a little more and then we get a reaction. All right, so I'm going to take that into my analysis with Euro USD. With me expecting the dollar to start retracing right now, I'm expecting Euro USD to continue selling, and I'm already actually in a sell position. So now let's look at Euro GBP so we can get a gauge of the actual strength of the euro. Right. All right, so we're looking at Euro GBP right now. It's within consolidation, right? Higher time frame consolidation. And we're falling from the top of that consolidation. We have a mitigation zone, came up, retested that mitigation zone, and we're currently falling from that mitigation zone. Because we're in consolidation and coming from the top of consolidation, I'm expecting Euro GBP to fall at least back to the bottom of the consolidation, which means I'm expecting weakness in Euro USD. Now, if I'm expecting weakness in Euro USD temporarily, and I'm expecting early strength, in the week from the dollar, Euro GBP being weak and me expecting it to be weak supports a sell on Euro USD, if that makes sense. And now this sale that I took, I want to show you guys the two reasons I took this sale. One, we have a market open gap from February 27th of this year. All right, we had a market open gap. We've been looking at this since February. I've been paying attention and eyeing this, and we finally came up to it. We filled it, and that's one of the reasons I decided to take the sale. The second reason is we have divergence on the relative strength index. Now, what do we know about divergence? Divergence gives us a clue that something is about to happen, right? Some type of reversal. So, what is divergence? Divergence is when uh, price doesn't match what's going on with a pair or something that is supposed to be matched with, right? So, for example, see how we have a overbought scenario right here on the RSI. It's overbought, and then we created a high and it sold off, right? We had a rejection. We came up overbought on the RSI, then we sold off. Look at how high or how much higher price came than this high right here. And this is what I'll do. I'll draw a line. This is how you spot divergence. We have a high and then we have a higher high. But if you look at the RSI, these are almost equal highs, but this high is actually lower. And so when you see this on the RSI, especially when it is diverging the opposite way, this should look like this, right? That's how this should look. But it's diverging, and that gives us basically a clue that a move is about to happen, and that more than likely price is going to start reversing and going the opposite direction, because this represents weakness. This represents weakness, exhaustion. We have a higher high, and it's higher than this high, and then we have weakness here. So divergence. So those were the two things that really caused me to place that sale and have confidence in that sale. Right, we had the market open gap, the divergence on the RSI, and it's overbought, and we have higher time frame resistance. We've come up to an area where the market has failed from before multiple times, where it's turned into a floor, dropped below, turned into a ceiling, right? And then we really just sold off, and we've come back up to the same area. So that is what's supporting this sale right now. And here is the plan with the sale. I'm going to drop down to the lower time frame so I can show you guys structure and the psychology behind why I'm taking profit at this area. So right now it's currently consolidating. We're falling. I wouldn't be surprised if we went up a little higher. We have room with the stop loss, but even if we head up from here and it continues buying, I still believe that price is overbought and it's just more exhausted. So if I get stopped out on this trade, I'll enter in one more time and go for that sale again. But what I'm expecting price to do is maybe do a little sweep, even if we poke above this high a little bit, and then I'm expecting it to fall. And not only am I expecting it to fall, I'm expecting a reaction from this area here. All right, so I'm expecting a reaction from this area here, but I'm also expecting it to go through it and turn it into a mitigation zone. And I'm expecting these lows to get swept before even thinking about any type of continuation. Before thinking about any type of continuation, I want to see price break below this zone, below these lows, sweep these lows, feel some imbalance, and then I'll be looking for a buy down in this area, right? And let's go ahead and let's put the fib on here. If we did fall from here, yeah, around that 50% around that 50% zone. So I really would target the opening of this market open gap. This market open gap. See how we fell? We blew through where it should have reacted from. And so I would not be surprised if price came back down to this market open gap and we got a continuation from here. So this is a reaction zone. I'm expecting price to come down here and have a reaction, but I wouldn't take a buy from there. I'm waiting for price to come down to this zone. So that's what we have for EU. That's the plan. And for anybody who are taking these trades, that is around 1.1300 is where that buy zone is at. All right, so now it's time to get into the wild cards. Go ahead and drop in the chats, in the comments, what it is that you would like analyze, and we'll get over to it. We'll get into it. And just for GP, while y'all dropping y'all pairs, let's take a look at GU. Because if I'm expecting Euro GBP to be bearish, then I'm expecting a little strength in the pound, right? So it's possible for the pound to be buying at the same time while EU is selling. But I'm also expecting strength in the dollar. So maybe we get consolidation in GU and not much of a sell-off. But I would bank more on a sell on EU than a sell on GU, because GU is stronger than EU right now, but the dollar is stronger than both the pound and the euro right now, which indicates weakness in the euro and the pound. All right, Dory, let's get into the Australian dollar versus the United States dollar. All right, we have the Australian dollar versus the United States dollar, and we did have news this week on. Okay, so we have news coming up tomorrow. I want to take this into consideration of this analysis. Tomorrow around 9:30. Okay. All right. So I see AU has been bullish. It's a lot of strength. We've cleared major highs. We poked above this high here and then rejected, but we did a really strong rebound. This is tricky because we creating that V. And the thing with these types of patterns, especially with what I'm seeing with the resistance, this is at a tricky area, because what I see a lot with these type of patterns, when price recovers like that, right, it's something like where it kind of, I don't know why, but I mean, not that I don't know why, but I don't see this continuing. I think that it just lost steam on the way up. Let's look at the RSI. Are we not overbought on the daily? And let me put this resistance line here. What are we looking like on the 4-hour? All right, so again, This is another example of divergence on the RSI. All right, so you guys see that? We were overbought here, and now we're showing weakness, but we created a higher high. And not only did we create a higher high, we created a higher high around the area of known resistance, a very strong resistance, right? We had a market open gap where we gapped down and then it kind of went up very aggressively. And now it's kind of slowly pushing away. Because of this divergence, I would call a sell on AU. Let's see what we can see on the lower time frames. Consolidation. Next area of where I would expect a reaction. And then same thing. So this is what I got, Dory. Keep this short and sweet. 2 buy zones, area of consolidation. I'm expecting a sell or a breakout of this consolidation. I wouldn't be surprised if we came back up to the top of the consolidation or even above this high and retest it. But I'm expecting AU to head down, react from here, possibly continue. But if we get a break below here, this turns into a mitigation zone. And then my next target would be this buy zone here. First buy zone being at 0.70885. Second buy zone being at 0.70417. And just for, so I will be expecting something like this. Nice little reaction, break below. And then maybe we, right, break back up. So I'm gonna leave this here to see how price plays out. But that's what I see for AU. That's what I see for AU, Dory. All right, cool. 936. So we got one wild card. I will drop this inside of the Telegram chat too. But let's get into what I wanted to talk to you guys about. So everybody on the call, go ahead and drop in the comments if you're following, or not even following, but are you familiar with what's going on with NASA and the recent trip to the moon? Just let me know if you guys are following it or are aware of it. Oh yeah, no problem, Dory. So I want to talk about this recent trip to the moon. So what do you guys feel? What do you believe about this trip to the moon? Because there has been, since the first time that the United States supposedly went to the moon with the mission Apollo, there's been, speculation on if they actually went to the moon or not. And you have some people who believe they did go to the moon and some people who don't believe they went to the moon. And so I'm curious and I'm interested in everybody's view. What do you believe? Do you believe that they went to the moon and that recently they actually made it to the moon? Or are you a person who doesn't believe that they made it to the moon and everything is like Hollywood? Everything was Hollywood for Apollo and everything was AI for Artemis. What's y'all thoughts? Just, just keep it simple. Do you believe or do you not believe? You a believer or non-believer? Dory says somewhat aware, not following heavy, not familiar on this trip. Okay. All right. Well, no belief. John Marsh said no belief. Okay. Yeah. Well, let's talk about it. Let's talk about it. So I thought it was funny that the trip to the moon was launched on April 1st, which is known as April Fools. I thought that was funny. That was you know, not not speculating, just stating the facts. That's the first thing that was kind of funny. I'm a person who, years ago, I've had conversations with my father and older people, from that time when Apollo was launched, and it kind of, they don't believe it. They did at the time, but it was just a lot of things that didn't make sense as far as the wind on the flag, and it's a lot of things that kind of like people just believe that it was filmed in Hollywood. And I'm not gonna lie to y'all. I'm not too confident in them making it to the moon. One, because I'm a believer in God, and I'm a reader of the Word. And if you read the Word, it's right there in the beginning, as far as like Genesis and the creation of the earth and the firmament and the stars and the moons and where they are, right? And I'm gonna touch back on that. But let's talk about Apollo and Artemis, and how they launched on April 1st, and why is it that let's talk about etymology. Let's get into etymology. Let's get into etymology. So, what is etymology? So, etymology is the study or the origin and the evolution of words, right? Including their meanings and how they have changed over time. It's a subfield of linguistics that connect. So basically, it's just the study of words and where they came from and the origin of them, right? Um, oh, y'all couldn't even see that. Let me. I'm sorry. Yeah, here we go. So it's the study of words, right? So I'm reading the Bible, and I do a lot of etymology, because the Bible was written, at least the Torah, right? The first half of the Old Testament was written in Hebrew, because it's about people who spoke and wrote Hebrew, right? And so it's very important for us, especially with so many different translations. I mean, it's so many different translations of the Bible where men have put their interpretation of certain words in Bibles, and it kind of changes the meaning of things, right? This is why I read the King James version. Even though, King James, we know who King James was. Um, and we know that the book was written by man, and distributed by man, blase blase. But it's still what we need, and what Yah is going to allow us to see, and what we need, he's going to allow us to have access to, right? I'm a firm believer in that. There's rules in this game. And so I stick to the King James version because it allows me to do the etymology and trace words back to the Hebrew meaning. So I'm reading Genesis, right? Chapter 3, the fall of men. I want to make sure you guys can see this. I'm reading Genesis chapter 3, the fall of man, and I want to show you guys how to do this yourself. So as you're reading, and this is only in the Old Testament, because when you get into the New Testament, a lot of it is Greek and Latin, and it's hard to revert back to. Oh, my light just went out. It's hard to translate it back to Hebrew, right? So this is the Blue Letter Bible, and we go down to Genesis chapter 3, verse 13. It says, "And the Lord God said unto the woman, What is it that thou hast done? This is after Eve has Adam and Eve have eaten from the forbidden tree of knowledge. And the woman said, the serpent beguiled me, and I did eat. Right? The serpent beguiled me. Now, all of this can be traced back to Hebrew. If we go over here to tools, you can go through, right? And all of this is Hebrew. This is all Hebrew writing, the Nakuds, right? This is the alphabet. And let's go down to beguiled. Beguiled is not Nasa or Nashar.
Strong's H, 5377. Nasha.
Nashar.
Nasha.
Is it coincidence that NASA, the space company, is named NASA, which is Nashar, which means to beguile or to deceive, right? Is it coincidence? Is that a coincidence, or like I think that's funny. So NASA or Nashar stands for, it means beguiled in Hebrew, in Hebraic. Here's why I think it's an insult. Here's why I think it's I think they're mocking us. I believe I'm being mocked because the Hebrew is the original language and it goes back, and we know that it's Nashar. But why are their missions themed after demigods, after Greek gods, right? So you had the Apollo mission. The first mission to the moon was the Apollo mission. Well, who is Apollo? Who is Apollo? Let's find out who Apollo is really quick. Let me pull this up. So Apollo is the Olympian god of music, prophecy, healing, archery, and light, embodying beauty, harmony, and moral virtue, right? Everything that's against y'all. Origins and family. Apollo is the son of Zeus and the Titan Leto, and the twin brother of who? And the twin brother of who? Artemis. All right, so who is Artemis? Artemis is the Artemis is the sister of the Greek god Apollo. And who was she? Why was she so significant? Right? What does she represent? What are these people trying to tell us? Artemis is the Greek goddess of the hunt, wilderness, wild animals, and childbirth. She is the daughter of Zeus and Leto and the twin sister of Apollo. So again, just going back, let's bring it back. Greek word Nashar or NASA, which stands for to beguile or to deceive, which is Hebrew. Yet their missions are themed off of Greek gods, Apollo and Artemis, and there's representation and meaning behind the names of these gods, right? John said, interesting. John Mark said, everything is intentional. Absolutely. Absolutely. So, brother and sister, Greek gods, and we know that what are demigods? When we talk about Zeus, when we talk about Artemis, when we talk about all these Greek gods, where did these people get these ideas of these gods? What did these people see? What did these people experience that made them believe that there was a god of thunder, that there was these different gods, that these planets were gods, right? We got to talk about fallen angels. That's when we got to get into the fallen angels. And I don't want to give y'all too much, but let's just say hypothetically that fallen angels were what people call aliens, which brings up my next thing. Who is Neil Armstrong? Who is Neil Armstrong? Neil Armstrong was the one of the astronauts on the Apollo mission, which was the first trip to the moon. What is Neil Armstrong's What is it backwards? Neil and then the first letter of his last name, A. What does that say backwards? Alien, right? Coincidence? I mean, it could be. I think it's funny that his name spelled backwards is alien. Neil Armstrong. A-L, right? Is alien. That's it's funny to me. Did you know? Did you know that the US government about 3 weeks ago they registered a website domain called alien.gov? Did y'all know that? Why am I saying all this? Why am I talking about what's going on with NASA? Why am I talking about what's going on with this recent moon landing or this moon visit? Um, I believe there's an agenda that's being pushed. All right. I don't know if y'all seen the last interview of one of the astronauts from NASA, but she actually like forgot her lines. And when they asked her, like, what was it like, when you went up there? And it just didn't sound like somebody who actually went to space and experienced that, because that would be amazing, right? That would be something that's amazing. Actually, I have the video. I have the video right here. Let's check it out real quick. Let's watch this together. Let's watch this together. This is the interview of the crew of the Artemis, right? And this is what she said.
Beautifully linked. So when we saw Tiny Earth, people asked our crew what impressions we had. And honestly, what struck me wasn't necessarily just Earth, it was all the blackness around it. Earth was just this lifeboat hanging undisturbingly in the universe. Uh-oh. So I may have not learned, I know I haven't learned everything that this journey has yet to teach me. But there's one new thing I know, and that is planet Earth, you are a crew. Thank you.
That's the sound.
So that was all she could come up with when she either forgot her lines, right, or the mic in her ear went out. I'm not sure, but they're trying so hard to prove that they went to the moon, to let us know that they went to the moon. And here's my theory. This is a theory. I'm not saying that this is fact. Here's the theory. Remember, I said I read the word, I read the Bible, and I have my theory about if we can reach the moon or not, just off the word, not off of anything else, just off the word by itself. But here's my theory. I believe that we have come up in an educational system that is designed to make us think a certain way, so that when the time comes for prophecy to be fulfilled, for revelations to be fulfilled, that we will be confused. The reason why we learned about the Big Bang Theory, the reason why we learned about evolution, that we evolved from monkeys, and all of this science, these things, the more you dive into the word, the more you're going to learn everything that they have done is by design, and it's to make us confused and not understand the truth of what's really going on, right? So I believe the agenda is to make us believe that they went to the moon, and she's pushing this word, the universe, and that we're just hanging out in space, and that we're a crew, to put into our minds that we're floating in space, and that there's millions of other universes, and all these things that they've been telling us is millions of other planets, and there's possibly life out there, so that when these beings, when they disclose and reveal these beings, they can call them aliens, the things that conspiracy theorists and people who put on tinfoil hats and that people used to laugh at, people are now going to believe, the masses are now going to believe that there is life outside of Earth. You have to believe that because we went to the moon and there's universes and they've been pushing this. They've been pushing this. Let me tell you that alien, in my opinion, alien and fallen angel are synonymous. Anunnaki and fallen angels, demons are synonymous. These beings that have been visiting these ancient civilizations that we have proof of, there's hieroglyphs inside of caves, inside of temples, and then the technology that they had back then. We didn't come from this because we're black people and we're so smart. And no, I'm off the Pan-Africanism too. Right? I used to be there, but I'm off of that too. Fallen angels, beings have come down and given us knowledge and things that we were not supposed to have. I'm able to sit here and talk to you on this computer right now, live, because of technology that we have been given, forbidden technology that we have been given by fallen angels, forbidden information. And so when these beings get revealed, we're going to believe they're from another place, which we're not going to understand what they are or who they are. And we'll be deceived because these are beings that have been here with us this whole time. They've been here the whole time. And the same chariots, that the balls of fire and the wheels of fire and the things that you hear, that you read in the Bible about things coming down from the sky. This is what this is. But in order for you not to believe that's what it is, we have to confuse you. And I could talk about the Blue Beam Project and what I believe about that and how they're also going to try to deceive us with that, because then it's like you have the Blue Beam Project. So when you see things in the sky, oh, that's light and that's effects. They're trying to trick us. Then you have the people that are going to believe it. But it's even a different side, another side to that truth. The Blue Beam Project is going to show things, right, that look crazy and so like, it is going to look like nothing that we've ever seen before, but that's to stop you from believing when the actual things start coming out of the sky. So it's going to be the people who don't believe what they see. It's going to be people who believe what they see. And then there's going to be people who know that none of that is real. And something is actually real. we not going to know the difference, right? So I say all that to say, dive into the word. I showed you etymology. I showed you the Blue Letter Bible, how to actually read and go back and look at the the root words of what things mean. Read the Bible for yourself. I'm not telling you not to go to church, but what I'm saying is don't just go to church and don't just sit in the pew and listen to the preacher speak. Right? That's cool. That's great. You're making an effort, but you got to go learn for yourself. You got to go find out what's going on for yourself. But other than that's it. I just wanted to go into that. I kind of wanted to open that can of worms and just kind of open your minds to, possibly looking at things differently, and getting in that word, the importance of getting in that word. Because at the end of the day, prayer, fasting, and getting in the word, that's the only thing that's going to save us from being able to discern what's real and what's not. You know what I mean? We living in a time where we got AI, we seeing things in the sky, things they starting to reveal things to us, and they're not revealing things to us for our benefit. Right? They're not revealing these things for our benefit. And it's just important to have discernment in this hour. It's so important to have discernment in this hour, and to ask God to open our hearts and our minds to understanding, to reveal to us what's true and what's not, and to just keep us and to keep the faith. At the end of the day, no matter what these people reveal to us, no matter what these beings are able to do with the weather and with the sky, they're going to work miracles. And no matter what these things are able to do and what they tell us, you have to keep your faith. If you believe in God, continue to believe in God. These things are going to try to tell us that they're gods and that that God is a lie and that the Bible is a lie and that they did, it's the enemy. I'm telling y'all, that's the enemy. I'm not afraid to say it. Say I'm a kook, whatever. I said what I had to say. I did it. I did my job. Let me look at these comments real quick. I wish I could bring y'all up so y'all could talk. John Moore said mass deception, dueling our discernment, Star Trek condition. Yep. Yes, thanks for this, coach. No problem. No problem. John Mark said, I love talking about this. Yeah, me too. It's an interesting subject. And it's important for us. You know, it's important for us to talk about these things for sure. No problem. But I hope y'all got value from this call. We approaching 10 o'clock. Like I said, I will drop those charts in the chats. If you're in the Snipers Anonymous broadcast, that's where it's going to be dropped. And I'll also drop it inside the other chat. But man, it was good talking to y'all tonight. Thank everybody who came and supported, interacted with me. I appreciate y'all. As always, becoming a master trader isn't about mastering the markets as much as it is about mastering yourself and discipline before profits and faith over everything. Y'all have a good night. Peace.